It's a couple of minutes after the launching of the closed alpha for MultiVersus, around midnight for me. I'm scrambling to get a code for this game because, like many others, I didn't get an email. In a bit of a desperate move, I start scouring some Discord servers looking for extra codes people may have. And then, I spot a glimmer of hope. Sure, it's very degrading on my part, but I'm not really in a position to complain here, so I shoot the guy a DM, not hoping for much since it's most likely a troll.
Holy shit!
We've seen a decent number of platform fighters over the past couple of years, and while a ton of them are pretty good, none have really caught my attention as much as Smash Bros. Has. And that probably isn't to the fault of those games specifically, but because half the reason I am in love with Smash is its cast of characters. You can probably tell that I'm obsessed with Nintendo games, and I can't really think of a cast of characters that would match Smash's roster for me. Though if any set of characters were to come close to that, it's definitely Warner Brothers. So as somebody with around 1,000 hours on Smash Brothers, how do I think of MultiVersus? Well, it was honestly really hard to get used to at first. Let me explain the basic mechanics of this game. Character movesets, similar to Smash, except you only have a jab, 3 grounded attacks, 4 aerials, and 4 specials. This made the movesets feel way more limited, and I've kind of found myself mashing the same few moves over and over again. This is especially since your 3 grounded attacks feel more like smashes than tilts, so your only real fast option on the ground is jab. Though a lot of moves can be cancelled pretty early into other actions, making them feel way safer. Outside of attacks, every character has a mid-air jump, wall jumps, and a really versatile dodge. I love how the air dodges kind of act closer to air dashes with intangibility, since it makes every character feel like they have a ton of mobility. The game feels like it really rewards you for being able to utilize your air dodges well, since they can be used to recover, get out of disadvantage, approach, and to escape whiff punishes. You can't just spam the dodge, since intangibility is treated like a resource you use up, represented by this meter. But it feels pretty easy to get it back honestly, which is done by attacking opponents. Oh, and getting back to stage is not a problem at all, since you have a ton of resources in the air. You get 2 specials, a jump, and 2 air dodges. If that doesn't sound like enough, once you reach a wall, you get both an infinite amount of wall jumps, and all the resources I mentioned previously are regained. To balance these incredible recovery options, everyone's given a spiking down air, so you can't just camp on the walls. Right now I'm still used to Smash's dodges, which you have to use really conservatively since they're pretty laggy, so I find myself getting absolutely destroyed online. I'll have to see what I think of the movement when I'm actually able to move comfortably. MultiVersus focuses on the doubles experience rather than singles, so it kinda makes singles feel a little slow at times. Combos don't really exist above 2 or 3 hits, and unless you get some cheesy kills, which is admittedly really common, stocks feel like they take forever to go away. It's all fair for doubles since you'll be taking twice the amount of hits, but a part of me wishes the singles experience was altered a bit to make it fit better. I haven't dabbled in doubles as much as singles, but it definitely feels like the most natural way to play. The pacing of doubles matches feel just right, and you can tell some characters were made with doubles in mind. I think a big question on everyone's minds is how this game handles the live service model. It's always a little scary hearing the words free to play, because you never really know how a game will handle it. Luckily in this case, everything gameplay related can be grinded for. There are a couple of unlockable characters you can buy using gold coins that you obtain while playing. Personally, I found the pacing of character unlocks to be just right. I'd say it took me 2 hours of gameplay to get enough coins for a character. This gave me plenty of time to give each character a try, and majority of the roster is unlocked from the start anyways. Each character also has their own level up system, which rewards you with perks. Think of perks like spirits in Smash. Each character has 3 slots for a general upgrade to your stats, like an increase to your damage, speed, or maybe even an extra jump. This big slot is for character-specific perks. For example, Shaggy's perk, One Last Zoinks, gives you a full charge of his gimmick, Rage, when it reaches 100 damage. With a character at level 10, I was able to get 3 of the general perks and 2 of the character-specific perks, as well as some items related to the system. Outside of leveling up, you can also put a character through perk trading, which is basically a shop for perks using the same gold coins used to unlock characters. I think this is a really cool way of being able to customize your character the way you want to play. I can't speak for the strength of the perks or the time it takes to fully grind for them since I've mostly been putting equal time into each character, but currently I don't feel like they unfairly boost any character's performance. Then there's the Battle Pass, where you get cosmetics like taunts, skins, banners, icons, and ringouts, which are basically kill effects. It's the standard Battle Pass model, most of the cool stuff is premium, but you still do get some fun free rewards like this Samurai Batman skin. The quality of the online itself, I can't really speak for since I'm in Southeast Asia and I'm on Australian servers. So the rollback has been kind of jittery, as you can see from the footage I've shown so far. While my online experience could definitely be better with a Hong Kong server or something, it rarely dips to unplayable levels. The only major issue I've seen is this bug where if I use Bugs Bunny's down B, I instantly die. Moving away from gameplay for a sec, I want to talk about how the game looks and feels. I've seen a ton of remarks on Twitter about how the game looks like Fortnite, or it looks really cheap. And yeah, the game doesn't look spectacular or anything, but I think the art style does work in its favor. If there's one thing Warner Bros. Is known for most, it's the cartoons. So it's great they decided to embrace the inherent wackiness of the concept of MultiVersus. The cartoon animals in particular look like they were grabbed straight out of their shows, and the art style still looks good on the more human characters. I have a couple of gripes here and there, like I'm not that into Superman's design, and Finn might look a little too blocky, but nothing major. The soundtrack is comprised of grand orchestral songs that make you feel like you're at a theme park. It really helps sell the feel of this collision of different people across the multiverse. I remember kind of freaking out when I first played on the Adventure Time map and heard this beautiful rendition of Come Along With Me. The voice work is also a joy to hear. Something I've always thought was missing in Smash was unique interactions between characters. So even just hearing Batman go, "Eat this, hippie," is really great. If there's one department where MultiVersus doesn't do so well, it's in the sound effects. I don't know what it is about the sound of the hit effects, but it just feels weak. Even spiking someone doesn't feel all too satisfying. And finally, the part of MultiVersus I want to applaud the most, the character movesets themselves. The amount of creativity in these movesets astounded me. I talked earlier about how the movesets are comprised of less moves than Smash, but that does not mean they're simpler. While there are 4 special move slots, characters can end up having totally different specials in the air. Some characters have aerials that can charge, grounded attacks that you can charge while walking, and a lot of the moves just have more than one function. The movesets do use a template, but no one has any moves that feel like they're there just to fill that slot, and they aren't afraid to bend the rules a bit to make a character feel just right. I'm going to just mention a bunch of characters with some really neat movesets. A huge challenge in adapting these cartoon characters as fighting game characters is that a lot of them don't have too much moveset potential, or they just don't have any special iconic moves. So what do you do when adapting Bugs Bunny? Fill up his moveset with slapstick shenanigans. You can pull out a variety of items out of nowhere. Highs, safes, rockets, Mr. Meeseeks, and it isn't just random references to fill a moveset. All of these moves link together to make his playstyle work. His down B creates a tunnel that allows him to either run away safely or approach, which helps him a lot since he has a bunch of things to set up. But why use it for that when you can just throw down a safe or a rocket and have it jump out of the other side? The character thrives off of creative setups, which was kind of Bugs Bunny's specialty in Looney Tunes if you think about it. Jake is the character I consider to be my main right now just because of how stupid he is. He has a bunch of moves you can just spam and win with, and imagining who Jake the dog would main in a fighting game, I think he would love his playstyle in MultiVersus. There are a few odd moves here and there that you wouldn't really think of, like eating up opponents or pulling out a skateboard, but he does a lot of fun stuff with his stretching. He turns into a horse, a house, some weapons. Oh my god, he sits on a chair. Batman's moveset just flows together so incredibly well. It's almost like he had the time to prepare all of his gadgets. And you know what they say about Batman with prep time? He has a smoke bomb that he can use to invisibly set up his tools in. He has a bomb that he can attach either with his Batarang or just by hitting opponents. He can get close with his grappling hook, then hit you with a really clean series of combos. I personally cannot use Batman's tools very well, but when I'm fighting one, oh my god. Their setups and combos are beautiful to watch, not so fun to get hit by. Velma's the one character here that really doesn't do any combat at all, so they made her Phoenix Wright from Marvel vs. Capcom. Here's an excerpt from her move guide. Velma can pick up evidence to fill up her evidence meter. When the meter is full, Velma can call a police car. The police car will drive to and pick up the nearest enemy, revealing it was really Old Man Jenkins, then stun them and drive away. Her moveset is just so wacky, and I can't help but love it. She attacks enemies with her sassy remarks, educates her allies to boost their stats and enlarge their heads. My favorite move is definitely the side special where she charges at you, grabs you, then trips and loses her glasses. The last character I want to talk about, well, characters, are Tom and Jerry. Oh my god, the creativity in this moveset. You already did funny slapstick shenanigans with Bugs Bunny, so what do you do here? Make them fight each other. All the animations, super charming. Sure, it's a little awkward seeing Tom do the same thing when Jerry is gone, but it's worth it for the creativity in these moves. Like Bugs, it's not just random references for the sake of references, it's stuff that you expect them to pull out that also create a really cohesive moveset. You can position Jerry with a slingshot or by tying him to a rocket and shooting it. Then you can zone opponents out by playing tennis with him. You can play tennis with 3 different projectiles. One is with his aerial down B, the dynamite stick. Another is with some corks, which are shot by Jerry himself. The third are tennis balls. If you can do the setups right, it creates some really funny situations where you could wall opponents out. And you don't even need to position Jerry for some pretty good zoning tools. Shooting Jerry with a slingshot or tying him to the rocket, those are great projectiles in their own right. And if you need Jerry back, just pull him back in with a fishing rod that also serves as a decent long-range option. And yes, all of Tom's screams are top-notch. Honestly, there's still some characters I'd love to talk about, like how they implemented Superman's flying in a platform fighter, or Finn's surprisingly combo-based moveset and shopping mechanic, or how they did Ultra Instinct Shaggy, or the fact that Taz attacks you by seasoning you and turning you into chicken. But those are the ones I really wanted to talk about, and I honestly cannot wait to see how they adapt more characters. So many different possibilities with Warner Brothers properties. Overall, MultiVersus has been a pretty great experience. I can't wait to play it with all my friends, especially since it's free. The game has the potential to evolve in some really fun ways. The character movesets ooze with creativity, and it just feels like the devs really care to make the game the best it can be. Now if you'll excuse me, this limited alpha test ends soon, so I better get back to play.